Namaskar, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students and scholars, teachers, trainers, professors, professionals, official listener learners, all my dear friends, I heartily cordially welcome. Today you are listening English news, tribute to a remarkable leader and visionary. We remember Shri A. Valliam as a leader who shaped institutions with clarity, conviction, and quiet confidence. Across several decades of service, he guided the group with a steady hand, thoughtful in his counsel, measured in his decisions, and unwavering in his commitment to values. He believed that true leadership lay in purpose, not prominence. He built teams, nurtured talent, and fostered a culture grounded in trust, discipline, and long term thinking. His ability to combine vision with practical wisdom strengthened the group's businesses and reinforced the principles that continue to define us in moments of opportunity and challenge. His guidance brought perspective and assurance. He led with humility, listened deeply, and consistently placed the institution above the individual. As we honor his memory, we remain inspired by the values he upheld and the legacy he leaves behind. His visionary thinking and values will continue to guide us. We remember Shri Evalian as a leader who shaped institutions with clarity, conviction, and quiet confidence. Across several decades of service, he guided the group with a steady hand, thoughtful in his counsel, measured in his decisions, and unwavering in his commitment to values. He believed that true leadership lay in purpose, not prominence. He built teams, nurtured talent, and fostered a culture grounded in trust, discipline, and long-term thinking. His ability to combine vision with practical wisdom strengthened the group's businesses and reinforced the principles that continue to define us in moments of opportunity and challenge. His guidance brought perspective and assurance. He led with humility, listened deeply, listed in deeply, and consistently placed the institution above the individual as we honor his memory. We remain inspired by the values he upheld and the legacy he leaves behind. His visionary thinking and values will continue to guide us. We join his family and countless well-wishers in mourning the loss of an extraordinary leader. Tribute to a remarkable leader and visionary Shri Arunachalam Valyan, Chairman Emeritus, Coromandel International Limited, former Chairman, Murugappa Group. Reading a quantum clock can cost more than keeping it ticking. A clock's counter always increases, which aligns with our everyday experience that it takes forward. The swinging of a pendulum or the vibrations of a quartz crystal are processes that consume energy and produce entropy, driving the clock's hands. But things are not so simple in the quantum world. The interaction between a quantum system and its classical measurement device isn't just a technical detail, it's a central part of the physics involved. The entropy produced by the amplification and measurement of a clock ticks is the most important and fundamental thermodynamic cost of timekeeping at the quantum scale. Time for us is a constant. Time for us is a constant, relentless moving forward. The ticking of a clock on the wall, the steady march of seconds on a digital display. They are such familiar concepts that rarely stop to consider the physical processes that underpin them. At its heart, any clock of a physical system that evolves in a predictable way, creating a record of the passage of time. Scientists are now exploring what timekeeping means at the smallest possible scale in the quantum realm, and their findings could on how physicists think about the role of measurement in the timekeeping. Time for us is a constant, relentlessly moving forward, the ticking of a clock on the wall, the steady march of seconds on a digital display. They are such familiar concepts that we rarely stop to consider the physical processes that underpin them. At its heart, any clock is a physical system that evolves in a predictable way, creating a record of the passage of time. Scientists are now exploring what timekeeping means at the smallest possible scale. In the quantum realm, and their findings could hone on how how physicists think about the role of measurement in the timekeeping. A study published in Physical Review Letters on November 14 by researchers from Austria, Italy, Ireland, Switzerland, and the UK delved into this word by building and analyzing a quantum clock. The researchers reported a surprising insight in their paper that the energy cost of simply looking at a clock to read the time could exceed the energy required to make the clock tick in the first place. This discovery, if it's borne out in more research, could have important implications for the future of ultra precise timekeeping with devices like optical clocks as well as for the development of quantum technologies and scientists' grasp of the laws that govern the universe at its most fundamental. Shattered glass, understanding the researcher's motivation demands first appreciating an important concept from physics called entropy. It's often colloquially described as a measure of disorder in formal terms. Entropy is linked to the second law of thermodynamics, which states that in an isolated system, entropy always tends to increase This relentless increase is what gives time its arrow, its direction of evolution. For example, a shattered pane of glass has more entropy than one that's intact, and we will never see the shards spontaneously reassemble. It's this principle of irreversible processes that allows a clock to create a lasting record of the past, distinguishing it from the future. For all practical purposes. A clock's counter always increases, which aligns with our everyday experience that clocks always tick forward. At the macroscopic scale of our everyday lives, this is straightforward. The swinging of a pendulum or the vibration of a quartz crystal are processes that consume energy and produce entropy, driving the clock's hands forward. But in the quantum world, things are not so simple. Quantum systems are governed by probabilities and can exhibit strange behaviors. The amount of entropy produced by quantum processes is generally orders of magnitude lower than in classical processes. This can lead to situations where, due to random fluctuations, a quantum clock might briefly tick backward. This presents a conceptual tension. A clock, by its very definition, must be an irreversible device that reliably distinguishes past from future. How can a quantum system, with its inherent randomness and potential for backward steps, function as a true clock? Takes of a quantum clock. The authors of the new study hypothesized that the solution lies not just in the clock's internal mechanism or its clockwork, but in the process of measurement itself. They proposed that the act of extracting information from the quantum system, for example, observing the ticks to create a classical readable record, must also produce entropy. This cost of observation could be the missing piece that enforces the forward flow of time. Even when the quantum checkwork itself is at a standstill, the team figured the motivation for the new study was to experimentally test this idea. The team aimed to build a quantum clock where they could separately measure the entropy produced by the internal clockwork and the entropy produced by the measurement apparatus. This would allow the researchers to directly compare these two costs and determine which one is more fundamental to the process of timekeeping at the quantum scale. Such an experiment would be the first to explore the interplay between the entropy produced by a microscopic clockwork and its microscopic measurement apparatus. To realize their quantum clock, the scientists used a device called a double quantum dot. Imagine two masculine, imagine two minuscule human-made island is a semiconductor material so small that they can hold only one extra electron at a time. These are quantum dots. By applying precise voltages, the research could control the movement of a single electron, causing it to tunnel from a source onto the first dot, then to the second dot, and finally off to a drain. Reading the time, the state of the DQD could be in one of three configurations: no excess electron on either dot, an electron on the left dot, or an electron on the right dot if overtick is full life cycle. For instance, from states 0 to L are L to R and back to zero as the electron tras- traverse the doors. Astronomers spot coronal mass ejection on another star for first time. Astronomers have said they have detected a powerful storm on a star other than our sun for the first time, discovering an explosion so violent it could have stripped away the atmosphere of any planets unlucky enough to be nearby. Solar storms on the sun sometimes shoot out huge eruptions known as coronal mass ejections, which can disrupt satellites when they arrive at the Earth and create colorful auroras that dance across the sky. In fact, a particularly powerful solar storm caused auroras as far south as the US city of Tennessee on November 12, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Auroras were also visible in the skies above New Zealand. Images showed with more expected into Wednesday night. However, observing such a storm on a distant star had proven difficult for astronomers. New research published in the journal Nature has now revealed that an international team of researchers has finally achieved the feat. The discovery used data from a European network of telescopes called LOFAR. The team of astronomers has been using LOFAR since 2016 to detect the most extreme and violent events in the universe, such as black holes, which emit relatively stable radio signals over time. We always have stars in the telescope's field of view, but generally we are not interested in them. Cyril Taché, a Paris observatory astronomer and the study's co-author, shared. This field opens up perspectives on how the magnetic activity of stars influences the habitability of planets that surround them. However, the researchers have set up a data processing system that also records what is going on with the stars behind the behemoths they are chasing. In 2022, the team decided to find out what had been caught in this net. Mr. Tashi said they found that there was a huge explosion which only lasted a minute on May 16, 2016. It came from a red dwarf star called STKM 1262, more than 133 light years away. The team then determined it was a coronal mass ejection. It's the first time we have detected one on a star other than our own, Mr. Tashi said. But this coronal mass ejection was at least 10,000 times more violent than known solar storms on the sun. He added, atmosphere killers. The discovery could have an impact on the search for planets beyond our solar system that have the potential to host life. Red dwarfs, which have a mass of between 10% and 50% of our sun, have proven to be the most likely stars in the universe to host planets that are roughly the size of the Earth. The first radio detection inaugurates a new era for space weather supply to other star systems. Hitesh Stern's Okajawa leads four other Indians into the semi-finals. From Greater Noida, Hitesh Gulia managed a 3-2 upset win over Olympian and World Championships silver medalist Shiwan Okajawa of Japan in a 70 kg quarterfinal. About 70 kg quarterfinal bout as India continued its domination on the second day of the World Boxing Cup finals at the Shahid Vijay Singh Pathak Indoor Stadium here on Monday. AI pilot project to enhance sports integrity wonder worst. From Greater Noida, we are now piloting with AI and provider in getting about review and hopefully that will be finished in LA. The outgoing World Boxing President Boris van der Wust on Monday said that the new apex body for amateur boxing, which is tasked to conduct the sport in 2028, Los Angeles Olympics is working on an artificial intelligence pilot project to ensure the competition's integrity. The main challenge still is the competition's integrity. I hope with exploring modern technology we are able to engage, for example, AI in bot reviews so that we restore the trust of fans, boxers, coaches, and everyone involved that only the best boxer's hand is raised. Sinner caps an eventful season with emphatic win from Turin. Arjun plays out a quiet drew with black pitches against Wade. The second seeded Indian shares the point in 31 move game from Aprora 59 minutes 31 moves. That was all it took Arjun Arigashi to draw the first game of the quarterfinal against China's Tamba Babuma of towering deeds and a giant size hurt from Kolkata. During the first test between India and South Africa at the Eden Gardens, here stump Mike caught pressure Jasprit Bumrah using the word dwarf while referencing Tamba Babuma during an IBW shot. Cummins to lead Sunrisers for the third consecutive IPL edition. Sangakkara to be Rajasthan Royals head coach and director of cricket. Dominant Pakistan edges past Sri Lanka sweep series 3-0. India A comes a cropper against Pakistan shines. Punjab State Power Corporation Limited. Stop power thefts for the nation. Power theft is a major obstacle to development. One report from you will help provide better electricity services to every citizen of Punjab. Report electricity theft. Contact method or number. The plan was to maintain a good line and length. Sunil says from Jammu for years. Sunil Kumar waited patiently and quietly. The 27-year-old left-arm pacer from Akhnur, Jammu and Kashmir was first spotted in 2021 by the team's head coach Ajay Sharma, but opportunities in first-class cricket do not come easily. He travelled and watched from the sidelines, absorbing every lesson from coaches and seniors until Monday at the JNK Sports Hostel and Science College ground here, when his perseverance finally paid off. Sunil ran through the Hyderabad batting lineup to claim his maiden 5-wicket haul, a performance that reflected both skill and years of preparation. Gurpreet wins silver. Indian finished third from New Delhi. Olympian Gurpreet Singh won the silver in the 25-meter centre fire pistol, losing out on gold on fewer sinner thanks to Ukraine's Pavlo Korostylov on the final day of competition at the ISSF World Championships in Cairo. Portugal and Norway are heading to the Americas. Portugal booked its ticket to 2026 FIFA World Cup with a 9-1 win over Armenia on Sunday, while an Erling Haaland brash rubber stampede Norway's place in the global showpiece at it romped to a 4-1 victory in Italy. Ireland sewed up a playoff place thanks to Troy Parrott's 96th minute hat trick, goal handling it at a 3-2 to win over third placed Hungary. Italy needed a miracle to pip Norway to first place in Group 1 due to the visitors' better goal difference. Congo books berth in intercontinental playoffs. Samad and Wadwan put J&K in driver's seat. The duo stitches an unbroken 148 run partnership as the home team extends its lead to 324. Opener Iqbal chips in with a half century earlier. Hyderabad gets bowled out for 121 from Jammu. Hyderabad woke up to Monday morning blues and it only got worse. Jammu and Kashmir wasted to no time asserting dominance, taking a commanding 324 run lead powered by Abdul Samad. 45 Indian pilgrims killed as tanker hits bus in Saudi Arabia. From Hyderabad or New Delhi, collision sparked a massive fire that killed the passengers who were from Telangana. One person reportedly survived. Officials are probing incident. 45 pilgrims from Telangana 45 pilgrims from Telangana were killed after an oil tanker collided with their bus about 40 kilometers from Medina in Saudi Arabia in the early hours of Monday. The collision sparked a massive fire that spread quickly through the bus, killing the passengers. Authorities said among the victims were 20 women and 11 children. The bus had stopped by the roadside when the oil tanker crashed into it, resulting in the explosion. Saudi authorities were investigating the circumstances leading to the incident. Official sources said Prime Minister Modi conveyed his condolence to the families of the victims and said Indian officials were in close contact with Saudi Arabian authorities. Mortal remains of the deceased were transferred to three hospitals in Medina: King Fahad, King Salman, and AI Mikkel. After the mortal remains are identified, families will have the option for repatriation to India or local burial at the Janatul Baqi cemetery in Medina as per local customs, said a source familiar with the official exchanges between Indian and Saudi authorities. 46 members of a group of 54 people who had left Hyderabad for their pilgrimage on November 9 were on the bus. Hasina had get death. Hasina and get death penalty over crackdown on 2024 student protest from Dhaka. A special tribunal in Bangladesh sentenced former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and former Home Minister Ashaduzaman Khan Kamal to death on Monday after finding them guilty of crimes against humanity during the state crackdown on a student uprising in July to August 2024. Former Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamum, who turned a state witness and testified before the tribunal against MS Hasina and Mr. Khan, was sentenced to 5 years in prison after he admitted to his involvement in the crackdown of the protest that led to the fall of the Hasina government. Reacting to the development, MS Hasina said the changes were unjustified, arguing she and Mr. Khan acted in good faith and were trying to minimize the loss of life. Mourn all the deaths, we lost control of the situation, but to characterize what happened as a premeditated assault on citizens is simply to misread the facts, the former Prime Minister said in a statement. I mourn all of the deaths that occurred in July and August of last year on both sides of the political divide, but neither I nor other political leaders ordered the killing of protesters, she added. The verdict by the International Crimes Tribunal 1 ICT1 represents the most dramatic legal action against the Awami League leader and comes just months before the parliamentary election scheduled for February. The tribunal also asked the government to provide compensation to the families of the victims and to those injured during the crackdown. Attorney General MD Sadujan said MS Hasina, who is now in exile in India, and Mr. Khan, who is also in exile, cannot appeal the ruling as long as they remain fugitives. He further shared the court had ordered the attachment and confiscation of all properties belonging to MS Hasina and Mr. Khan within Bangladesh, and that the state would take all necessary legal measures to implement the verdict. Leaders and activists from various political and social organizations gathered outside the tribunal as the verdict was being read out. Saudi Arabia's MBBS Saudi Arabia's MBS visits US with defense nuclear energy on agenda from Riyadh or Washington, a visit by Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler to the White House for talks on Tuesday with US President Donald Trump aims to deepen decades decades old cooperation on oil and security while broadening ties in commerce, technology, and potentially even nuclear energy. It will be the first trip by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman MBS to the US since the 2018 killing of Saudi critic Jamal Khashoggi by Saudi agents in Istanbul, which caused a global uproar. US intelligence concluded that MBS approved the capture or killing of Khashoggi, a prominent critic, the Crown Prince, widely known as his initials MBS, denied ordering the operation but acknowledged responsibility as the kingdom's de facto ruler. Mr. Trump is seeking to cash in on a $600 billion Saudi investment pledge made during his visit to the kingdom in May. The Saudi leader is seeking security guarantees amid international turmoil and wants access to artificial intelligence technology and progress toward a deal on a civilian nuclear program. Saudi Arabia has also sought a defense pact ratified by the US Congress in recent negotiations, but Washington has made that contingent on the kingdom normalizing ties with Israel. Taiwan says China severely impacting regional peace in escalating spat with Japan. Japanese retail and tourism shares dived after China warned its citizens to avoid the tourist hotspot from Taipei. Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te said on Monday that China had severely impacted regional peace in its row with Japan, which was sparked by Japanese Prime Minister Shani Takachi's remarks on Taiwan. Mr. Lai called on Beijing to show restraint, act like a major power, and not become the troublemaker in the Asia Pacific region where peace and stability have been severely impacted. The diplomatic feud between China and Japan was ignited by Takaichi's suggestion that Tokyo could intervene militarily in any attack on Taiwan. China claims Taiwan is part of its territory and has threatened to use force to bring the democratic island under its control. Taiwan, which has never been ruled by Communist China, was a Japanese colony for 50 years until the end of World War II, while Japan does not recognize Taiwan's claim to statehood. Tokyo and Taipei maintain close unofficial ties. Speaking to reporters, Lai said China should return to the path of a rules based international order which would help maintain peace, stability, and prosperity in the region. The dispute between China and Taiwan dates back to 1949 when nationalists forced a flag to the island after losing the Chinese Civil War to communist fighters. Mending ties, Japanese tourism and retail shares dived on Monday after China warned its citizens to avoid the tourist hotspot. A senior Japanese official, meanwhile, arrived in China seeking to defuse the row sparked by MS Takaichi's suggestion that Tokyo could intervene militarily in any attack on the self-ruled island. Trump signals possible talks with Maduro amid tensions from Washington. US President Donald Trump suggested on Sunday that future talks with Venezuelan counterpart Nicolas Maduro could be on the table as the regional US military buildup has whipped up tensions between the countries. Mr. Trump spoke after Washington further up the ante by announcing plans to designate Cartel de los Sols, a cartel that it claims Mr. Maduro runs as a foreign terrorist organization, terrorist group. We may be having some discussions with Mr. Maduro and we will see how that runs out, Mr. Trump told reporters in Florida, adding they would like to talk. Nothing to hide, says Trump as he spots House vote for release of Epstein files from Washington. US President Donald Trump said on Sunday he backed lawmakers' efforts to release more files related to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Despite previous opposition to the measure, it is a rare example of Mr. Trump backtracking because of opposition within the party. House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide, Mr. Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform. The 79-year-old Republican has accused Democrats of pushing an Epstein hoax after emails emerged in which the disgraced financier suggested Mr. Trump knew about the girls. Some critics have accused Mr. Trump of trying to concealed details about his own alleged wrongdoing, something the president denied by looking to block the word. The issue that the issue has divided his typically loyal Republican Party and driven a rift between Mr. Trump and some of his closest allies within his Make America Great Again movement. Over the weekend, Mr. Trump withdrew his endorsement for Congresswoman and mega stalwart Marjorie Taylor Greene's 2026 re-election bid. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson has said he would hold a vote this week on a bid to force the Justice Department to release the remaining files relating to the Epstein probe. Some members of the Republican Party are being used and we can't let that happen, Mr. Trump said in reference to lawmakers who backed a call by Democrats to release the files. We will engage with all stakeholders in Bangladesh, says India after verdict. India has noted the verdict announced by the tribunal concerning former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina as a close neighbor. India remains committed to the best interest of the people of Bangladesh, says the Ministry of External Affairs from New Delhi. The Ministry of External Affairs here on Monday said it has noted the verdict delivered by the National Crimes Tribunal ICT in Dhaka and added that India will constructively engage with all stakeholders in Bangladesh. The tribunal on Monday sentenced former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and former Home Minister Ashaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal to death for crimes against humanity over the state crackdown on the July to August 2024 student uprising. The Indian response came soon after the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Bangladesh urged India to follow the spirit of the ICT's verdict and hand over both MS Hasina and Mr. Khan to Bangladesh to face justice for their actions. India has noted the verdict announced by the International Crimes Tribunal of Bangladesh concerning former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. As a close neighbor, India remains committed to the best interest of the people of Bangladesh, including in peace, democracy, inclusion, and stability in that country. We will always engage constructively with all stakeholders to that end, said the Ministry of External Affairs. In human crimes, earlier the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bangladesh said MS Hasina and Mr. Khan had committed inhuman crimes and that sheltering such persons is an extremely unfriendly behavior. We call upon the Government of India to hand over these two persons to the authorities in Bangladesh without further delay. This is also a responsibility for India according to the existing extradition treaty between the two sides, said the ministry. In a statement sent to the media, MS Hasina described the ICT as rigged and said the tribunal's decision to give death sentence indicates murderous intent of extremist figures within the interim government. MS Hasina defended her government's decision to deal with the protesters and said, "I'm on all of the deaths that occurred in July and August of last year on both sides of the political divide, but neither I nor other political leaders ordered the killing of protesters." Leftist far-right candidates head to a presidential runoff in Chile from Santiago. Macron Zelensky signed accord for Ukraine to buy French fighter jets from Paris. Ahead of UN what Netanyahu says there can be no Palestinian state from Tel Aviv. Landslides kill 18 in Indonesia's Java. Search on for those missing from Jakarta. Lobbying for libraries survey asserting the learning outcomes among children in Tamil Nadu have pointed to a decline in proficiency in English. While reading for pleasure has taken a back seat, the lack of adequate incentives and infrastructure to encourage reading remains a significant setback, finds Magna. Schools must set up a proper library. Children would be more interested if they could experience a library environment as it would offer more opportunity for storytelling and sharing ideas. In a small village in Tamil Nadu's Tiruvalur district, B. Rajan, a student of the Panchayat Union Primary School at Velambekam, flips through her English textbook. She reads aloud the lesson taught the day before about a goat that goes missing and its journey back home with its shepherd. I like English and I like reading. Whenever I get textbooks, I read my English book first. I do not have other storybooks at home, so I keep rereading it. MS Regina says the only library in her village remains closed. Though it was renovated earlier this year, it is yet to be opened. MS Regina's thirst for reading might not be the norm. Globally, parents, teachers, and education activists lament that children no longer read for leisure, and its repercussions have been manifold. Children now read only for a purpose with an abundance of information available through pictures and videos. The joy of reading for leisure is declining. This has definitely impacted their vocabulary and communication styles. The appropriate usage of contextual words is no longer being practiced, and their grade level writing proficiency has also suffered, said Lakshmi Prabhu, Principal Prashant Vidyan Mandir, Sindalpatu. A state level achievement survey of which report was released this year by the State Planning Commission assessed the learning outcomes of students in classes 3, 5, and 8. It found that proficiency in English, math, and science declined as students advanced to higher grades. Class 8 students in government and government aided schools scored less than 40% in these subjects. The recent annual status of education reports showed that while the state has made significant progress in reading levels since 2022, rising from 4.8% to 12% in 2024. Thanks to the state's intervention through Anum Ajuthum, there is still a long way to go. Where are the libraries? The Right to Education Act 2009 specifies that each school must have a library that provides newspapers, magazines, and books on all subjects, including storybooks. In government schools in Tamil Nadu, libraries are often not spacious rooms with shelves stocked with books up to the ceiling. If they are lucky, a school might have dedicated room, but sometimes it is just a large shelf, a cupboard, or even a cardboard box. We do have a small library room in our government high school, but since we are worried that students might tear the books, we do not allow them inside. We keep it locked, said the principal of a government school in Raman Ramanathapuram. There are over 4,640 public libraries and 14 mobile libraries in Tamil Nadu. According to the website of the Directorate of Public Libraries, a library membership in Chennai costs 30 rupees per year for a child, 60 rupees for an adult, and 110 rupees for a family. With a renewal fee of 10 rupees every year, most children and their parents are not aware of the presence of government library in their areas. As Smitra, a resident of Mogapair, Chennai, who runs a small pushcart eatery, said she did not know that libraries were available for people like her. My son loves to read and keeps reading his textbook. We used to borrow books from my previous employers because we cannot afford to buy the big picture books. They are expensive now that I know a library near my place exists. I will go sometime, but I have to work to make sure I can send my child to school, so I am not sure when I can make time to go. She added. A public librarian in Chennai said that not many children visit her library, but those who do are interested in the picture books. These books, however, are not as widely available in Tamil and in and the English collection is quite small. She added that there has been an increase in patronage owing to greater awareness, recognizing the need for storybooks for children in child-friendly language. The school education department introduced reading movement in 2023. Child-friendly books in four categories based on children's reading levels are available in Tamil and English. The initiative was meant to help students explore books beyond their textbook. The teacher reads the story to them first, then asks them to read it, and the child explains the story as they progress. They can also take these books home to read. At government school teacher Manjula, a government school teacher in Tiruvati, Tiruvatiyar, said in aim of Veshapu Iyakam was to ensure that students handled books other than their textbook even if they tear them. The department says it is alright. The books are only given to read during the lunch hour along with the education department magazines. Onujal and Thanchutu only when teachers kindly allow for reading will children begin to enjoy school and learning, she said. Primary school teachers note that while students enjoy the Veshipu Iyakam books, they rarely follow up with other books that might interest the children. Since this is department mandated, we follow it. We do not even have time to complete our syllabus. How are we going to take them to nearby libraries or suggest other books? Asked them Manny Meglai, president of the Tamil Nadu Primary Teachers Federation. Finding joy in reading Gita, Kanan began introducing books to her daughter when she was just over 1 year old. She read aloud to her for 6 or 7 months before her child showed interest in looking through the books. It started out as an activity to keep her occupied while we were working from home, but with encouragement from my friends on the right kind of books for her, we kept at it until she found her own interest, said the mother of the 9-year-old girl. The child's interest MS Geetha found lay in the connection between cartoons and their book variations. She really likes Peppa Pig, so when she started seeing those books, she gravitated towards them. We would read aloud to her, and soon she picked it up and would thumb through it herself, staying engrossed for hours. MS Geetha added today her daughter has become a voracious reader, moving on to chapter books with picture. She soon began talking about the books to her friends, which helped to create more awareness of the kinds of books they could look for. She now knows many more words and asks about their meanings. She is at an age where she wants answers to many questions, so she reads a lot of narrative non-fiction. MS Geetha shared. India oil firms bagged first ever US LPG import deal. From New Delhi, India's public sector oil companies oil companies have successfully concluded a one-year deal to import liquefied petroleum gas from the US Gulf Coast. Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas Hardeep Singh Puri said on Monday in a post on X. He said India would source about 2.2 million ton per annum MTPA of LPG from the US Gulf Coast for the contract year 2026, making it the first structured contract of US LPG for the Indian market. He added the deal would represent 10% of India's annual imports in the sector during 2026. A team of officials from Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, and Hindustan Petroleum engaged in discussions with major US producers over the last few months, which concluded now, he stated. The move comes against the backdrop of India facing 50% tariffs on exports to the US and many Indian ministers stating India would like to import more energy from the US. Respond to claims on properties Respond to claims on properties for sale to Adani. Supreme Court to Sahara from New Delhi. The Supreme Court allowed Sahara Group to respond to a representation by amicus curiae senior advocate Shekhar noted that he received at least 34 claims to various properties which the company wanted to sell to Adani Properties Private Limited. Appearing before a bench of Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai and Justices Suryakant and M.M. Sundaresh, Mr. Neffard said Sahara India Commercial Corporation Limited did not disclose any of the 34 claims to the Supreme Court when it applied for permission to sell a total of 88 properties to Adani Properties. He said the Securities Exchange Board of India, SEBI, should have issued notices in newspapers inviting objections to sale of the 88 properties. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal and advocate Gautam Ashwani Gautam Avasthi appearing for Sahara sought time for a response. The Supreme Court gave Mr. Nafed 4 weeks to hand over a compilation of the 34 claims to Sahara and the Centre, after which they would file separate responses to it in 2 weeks. The Ministry of Cooperation was pleaded as Sahara as involved in many cooperative societies. permit outright sale. SICCL sought Supreme Court's nod to outright sell various properties belonging to the Sahara Group to Adani Properties Private Limited. For the consideration and on the terms and conditions as set out in the term sheet dated December 6, 2025, SICCL said it and the Sahara Group faced great difficulty in being able to liquidate some of the assets. The proceeds were deposited in Shabi Sahara refund account out of a total principal of 24,030 crore rupees. The Sahara Group, by way of sale or liquidation of immovable assets, realized approximately 16,000 crore rupees and deposited the same in the SHABI. The application said SICCL argued it would not be out of place to mention Mr. Awasthi shared the proposed transaction was a breakthrough not only in unlocking substantial value from the Sahara Group scheme movable assets but also in ensuring compliance with the financial obligations. Center OK's 7,172 crore rupees electronic part projects from New Delhi. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology said it approved 17 new projects under the Electronics Component Manufacturing Scheme, where firms will receive incentive payouts pegged to turnover. The projects have a cumulative proposed value of 7,172 crore rupees. This is the second tranche of announcements after seven projects were announced earlier this month. The basic objectives of the ECMS is really to deepen the value chain in India, IT Secretary S. Krishnan said, to ensure more electronics manufacturing takes place in India in components so that with a deepened value chain, as a part of a global value chain, we have deep enough roots that tomorrow, even if labor costs rise, it's not as if the industry will move out. We have inbuilt competitiveness. IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav declared victory over naysayers who he said were proven wrong over skepticism on the center's push on electron ICS manufacturing. A Valuyan, former chairman of Murugappa Group, passes away at 72, Chennai. Aruna Kalam Valyan, Chairman Emeritus of Commercial International and ex-chairman of the Murugappa Group, passed away in Chennai after prolonged illness. He was 72. He is survived by wife Lalitha Valyan, son Arun Valyan and Narayanan Valyan, and grandchildren. A distinguished business leader and a valued member of the Murugappa family, Mr. Valyan dedicated several decades to the group, providing strategic direction across its diversified businesses, said an official statement from the Murugappa Group. His vision, integrity, and long term approach to value creation helped strengthen and expand the group, contributing significantly to its reputation as one of India's most respected conglomerates. It said Mr. Valian had served on the boards of various companies in Murugappa Group and additionally on the boards of companies such as Canoria Chemicals and Industries Limited, Exim Bank and Indian Overseas Bank. Mr. Valian had also held leadership positions in various industry and trade organizations including Southern India Chamber of Commerce and Fertilizer Association of India and Indian Sugar Mills Association. He was the chairman of the board of governors of the Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. He was an alumnus of the Doon School, Shri Ram College of Commerce, Aston University, UK, and University of Warwick Business School, UK. As a business leader, he had a high level of business acumen and good grasp for men and matters. It is an irreparable loss for industry and the country, and I would personally miss him greatly, said Venu Srinivasan, Chairman Emirates TVS Motor Company. Tamil Nadu CM MK Stalin condoled Mr. Valiant's death, saying his passing was a loss to the state's industrial sector. Emirates to offer Starlink Wi-Fi on all aircraft over next 2 years from Dubai. Emirates on Monday became the latest airline to offer Starlink Wi-Fi on its aircraft. The airline will begin rolling out the feature later this week on one of its Boeing 777 aircraft and across its in-service fleet of 232 aircraft by 2027. Travelers will be able to stream content, make calls free of cost across all cabins, including economy class on the ultra-fast Starlink service that delivers the same level of internet quality accessible on ground it shared. Finance panel submits report for 2026 to 31 from New Delhi. The 16th Finance Commission chaired by economic Arvind Panagria has submitted its report to the President of India. The office of the President announced on Monday the 16th Finance Commission recommendations would apply for a period of 5 years beginning on April 1, 2026. PAU gets RBI not to operate as payment aggregators. Air India to restart Shanghai flights from Feb 1 after 6 years. NMIA to begin commercial operations from December 25. Festive surge in gold imports drives trade deficit to $21.8 billion. India's total exports in October this year stood at $72.9 billion, a marginal decline from $73.4 billion in the same month last year from New Delhi. India's trade deficit surged 141% in October 2025 to $21.8 billion due to surging imports driven in large part by a festival related jump in gold imports and subdued merchandise exports. Official data showed India's total exports in October 2025 stood at $72.9 billion, down marginally from $73.4 billion in October last year. First tranche of BTA related to reciprocal tariffs to close soon. Talks on the reciprocal tariffs aspect of the proposed BTA derailed in August. from New Delhi in an indication that some of the trade tensions between India and the US might be getting ironed out. A senior government official said on Monday that the first tranche of a trade deal between the two countries is more or less near closure. Yes, we are engaged with the US on the bilateral trade agreement, but as you are aware, the BTA has two parts in it. A senior official in Ministry of Commerce and Industry said on the condition of anonymity as the talks are still ongoing. One part of it will take time. The official explained the other part is a package that can address reciprocal tariffs. We are working on both aspects, but the package that can address reciprocal tariffs is more or less near closure. We should get closer on that soon. On Sunday, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal too said that hopefully the US deal will get finalized soon. Talks on the reciprocal tariffs aspect of the proposed BTA were derailed in August following the levy of a total 50% tariff on imports from India. This included 25% tariffs imposed as a penalty for India's oil imports from Russia. In the wake of these tariffs, the sixth round of negotiations on the BTA, which was set to take place in New Delhi in the last week of August, was cancelled. Formal talks did not resume for 1.5 months. However, Commerce Secretary and Chief Negotiator for India on BTA, Rajesh Agarwal, travelled to Washington with his team for the sixth round of negotiations between October 15 to 17, indicating that tensions were easing. Assam bans movement of pigs to check spread of flu. From Guwahati, fresh protest in Kolkata after names of talented teachers appear in list. The section of protesters moves court. Questions how talented candidates were permitted to fill up forms, issued admit cards and allowed to sit for exams despite Supreme Court order, says those who secured full marks in written exam have been left out from Kolkata. Protests erupted in Kolkata on Monday in connection with the fresh recruitment of teachers in West Bengal state aided schools. A section of protesters filed a petition alleging that talented candidates have made it to the merit list even after Supreme Court barred them from appearing for the recruitment. Several job aspirants have also opposed non-teaching candidates getting additional credits for work experience when that credit was to be reserved for teaching experience. On Saturday, the West Bengal School Service Commission released the interview list of over 20,000 candidates who qualified in the September 14 teachers recruitment test for classes 11 and 12 in West Bengal government run and added higher secondary schools. Candidates moved court on Monday and raised questions on how the talented candidates were allowed to fill up forms, issued admit cards, and allowed to sit for exams when the top court specifically asked the West Bengal government to not allow them to appear in the fresh hiring process. Many also alleged that multiple untalented teachers have not made it to the interview list, and some candidates with full marks in their written test have allegedly been left out. Teaching experience names of a lot of talented teachers are on the list. I hope their names will be removed during verification. Many have also gotten extra 10 marks for their work experience for other fields, though it was supposed to be reserved only for teaching experience. We hope these mistakes will be rectified. Chinmoy Mondal, a member of Jogya Shikhak Shikha Adhikar Mancha, deserving teachers' rights from Chad. Candidates erupted in protest at Salt Lake and were planning to head to Vikas Bhavan State Education Department headquarters to demand an audience for their grievances but were stopped by the police. A lot of candidates who have worked for 5, 6 years and have never been part of the scam have been left out in the merit list. We have done no wrong, then why are we being made space gods? Mahbub Mandal, another protesting teacher, asked. However, State Education Minister Bratya Basu asked the job seekers to have faith in the process. The document verification process for the SHED candidates is scheduled to commence formally from November 18, 2025, he said in a social media post. The merit list of candidates who appeared for the assistant teaching jobs for classes 9 and 10 are yet to be published. The exams took place on September 7 and 14, and the hiring process is to be completed by December 31. As per the Apex Court order, there are 15,403 untainted teachers who have their hopes pinned on the fresh recruitment process to reinstate their jobs. Video crops up. In a related development, leader of the opposition, Suvendu Adhikari, alleged that Trinamool Congress MLA Jiban Krishna Saha, who has been arrested in the school recruitment scheme, is taking bribes from jail to fast track the fresh recruitment process. He urged the enforcement directorate to take immediate action and shared a video which is allegedly of Mr. Saha taking bribes. However, the authenticity of the video has not been verified. Azam Khan, son convicted in due PAN card case from Rampur, UP, less than 2 months after he was released from Sitapur jail. SP leader Mohammad Azam Khan went back behind bars on Monday when a court convicted and sentenced him to 7 years imprisonment in a 2019 case related to obtaining two PAN cards using different dates of birth. The special MP MLA court here also sentenced Mr. Azam's son Abdullah Azam to 7 years imprisonment in the same case. After the sentencing, Mr. Azam was taken from the Rampur court to the district jail under heavy security. While being taken to prison, he said, "What is there to say now? It is the court's decision." Asked about the court awarding a 7 year sentence is to him and his son, the 77-year-old leader replied, "It is fine. If they have considered me guilty, they have given the punishment." Mr. Khan had a total of 84 cases against him. He has been acquitted in 4 cases while others are still pending. Limits of injustice. Meanwhile, Samajwadi Party President Akhilesh Yadav criticized the conviction of Mr. Azam and his son, accusing the BJP of injustice and oppression in arrogance of power. In a post on X, Mr. Yadav wrote, "Those who cross as limits of injustice and oppression in the arrogance of power eventually fall into the group of nature's verdict and meet a bad end. Everyone is watching everything." What's our fault after Delhi blast at J&K students face collective suspicion from New Delhi. TNC's 5.25 lakh Dog bite cases 28 rabies deaths so far this year from Chennai. Alliance buzz grows as Udhav Raj take make joint appearance at Balasaheb death anniversary from Mumbai. In a show of solidarity, Thackeray cousins Udhav and Raj came together in Mumbai at the Shiv Tirth Memorial of Balasaheb Thackeray on his 30th death anniversary on Monday. This was only the third time in the last 13 years that the cousins came together on Thackeray's death anniversary. Supreme Court issues notice on anti-conversion law plea to Rajasthan from Delhi. From New Delhi, the Supreme Court on Monday sought response from the Rajasthan government and others on a petition challenging the validity of the Rajasthan prohibition of unlawful conversion of Regional Act 2025. A bench of Justices Vikram Nath and Sandeep Mehta issued notice to the state and others seeking their replies on the plea filed by the Jaipur Catholic Welfare Society. Excessiveness. We have raised issues of legislative competence as well as excessiveness in terms of constitutional limitation. Senior Advocate Rajiv Dhawan, appearing for the petitioner, said the bench observed that petitions raising similar issues were pending consideration before the top court. We have raised an entirely different question. Mr. Dhawan said we will issue notice and call the other side and then we will hear you. Justice Nath said as the bench issued notice on the plea and posted the matter for hearing after 4 weeks. Petitions tagged it also tagged the plea with the pending petition raising similar issue. On number 3, the top court agreed to hear two petitions challenging the validity of several provisions of the law against illegal religious conversions that came into force in Rajasthan. Also in September, another bench of the apex court sought the stand of several states on separate pleas, seeking a stay on their respective anti-conversion laws. States must actively consider notifying any human-wildlife conflict as natural disaster, Supreme Court says from New Delhi. The Supreme Court on Monday, in a judgment, said states must actively consider notifying a human-wildlife conflict as a natural disaster. A bench headed by Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai directed states to pay out an ex gratia amount of 10 lakh rupees to victims of human-wildlife conflicts under the centrally sponsored umbrella scheme of integrated development of wildlife habitats. All states should have smooth and inclusive compensation policies for crop damage, loss of life of both human and cattle in order to reduce the timelines to mitigate the issues resulting out of human wildlife conflict, close coordination between different agencies and departments with mandated responsibilities should be ensured. The Supreme Court ordered tree felling tree felling in Corbett. The court was hearing a petition alleging illegal tree felling and construction in the Corbett Tiger Reserve, one of the oldest in the country. The judgment made by the state of Uttarakhand fully liable to restore and repair the Corbett ecology. The state, in consultation with the Central Empowered Committee, was directed to submit a restoration plan for reserve in 2 months, begin demolishing illegal constructions there in 3 months, and file a compliance affidavit in the apex court in a year. The judgment, authored by Chief Justice Gavai, directed states to notify buffer and core areas of their tiger reserves within the next 6 months. Ash Srinivas takes charges as Rajasthan Chief Secretary. Senior Indian Administrative Service official V. Srinivas took charge as the new Chief Secretary of Rajasthan on Monday, replacing Sudhansh Pant. Gujarat CM flags of Unity March. Says adopt Swadeshi. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel on Monday appealed to people to adopt Swadeshi as way of life and commit themselves to realizing the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047 as he flagged off the Unity March in Ahmedabad on Monday. The Sardar at the rate 150 Unity March is being organized nationwide to mark the 150th birth anniversary of Sardar Patel. To spread the message of national unity, the statewide march was launched from Junagadh on November 9. Remembering Sardar Patel, we should all adopt Swadeshi as a way of life and contribute to building Viksit Bharat. We should unite and commit ourselves to realizing the vision of Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047, the CM shared. Suvendu says Indian Muslims in Bengal no longer fear SIR from Kolkata. Leader of the opposition in West Bengal Assembly and Bharatiya Janata Party MLA Suvendu Adhikari on Monday claimed that India Muslims, particularly from West Bengal, have not fallen into Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's trap and accepted the special intensive division of the state's electoral rolls as an exercise and not to political matter. Mamata Banerjee failed to instill fear this time the way she did during the passage of the Citizenship Amendment Act after the distribution of enumeration forms. Indian Muslims have realized they have nothing to fear. They have understood SIR is not a political matter but an exercise that had happened in the country multiple times before, Mr. Adhikari shared, addressing a press conference at the state BJP headquarters. The LOP also displayed alleged instances of duplicate voters. Earlier, a BJP delegation led by Mr. Adhikari submitted hard copies and digital evidence of over 13 lakh duplicate voters in West Bengal's voters list. We have submitted names of 13.25 lakh duplicate voters. At least half of them will get deleted in case of dead voters. We have found a minimum of 50 to 150 dead voters in each of 20 polling booths in 20 assembly constituencies. The BJP MLA from Nandigram shared. Bangladeshis fleeing. Mr. Adhikari also displayed visuals of people who he claimed were illegal Bangladeshi immigrants allegedly fleeing West Bengal and crossing that international border to reach Bangladesh after the announcement of SIR. Trinamool Congress spokesperson responded to Mr. Adhikari's claims, saying that the people of West Bengal are severely disgruntled with how the SIR is being carried out in the state. Meanwhile, sources at the office of the Chief Electoral Officer of West Bengal shared the fresh voter list published after the completion of the SIR process is likely to be scanned by artificial intelligence to identify duplicate voters in the list. AI is also being used to detect the misuse of electors' photographs in enumeration forms. Delhi blast culprits will get strictest punishment, Shah says at General Council meet. Eliminating terror, a collective commitment, Union Home Minister, meeting marked by disputes over water sharing as Haryana, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh debate SYL canal, pending dues and territorial claims. From Chandigarh, Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Monday shared the culprits of the November 10 Delhi bomb blast will be traced even from the nether word brought before the judicial system and given the strictest possible punishment under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Eliminating terrorism from the roots is our collective commitment, Mr. Shah said while chairing the 32nd meeting of the Northern Journal Council in Faridabad, Haryana. The meeting was attended by Chief Minister Snap Singh Saini, Haryana सुखविंदर सिंह सुक्खू हिमाचल प्रदेश, भगवंत मान पंजाब, भजन लाल शर्मा राजस्थान, Omar Abdullah Jammu and Kashmir, and Rekha Gupta Delhi, along with several governors and lieutenant governors and senior central and state government officials. The session started with the participants observing a minute's silence for those killed in the terrorist incident near the Red Fort. Vital platforms. Mr. Shah, the chairperson of the five zonal councils, said the platforms are crucial for dialogue, cooperation, coordination, and policy synergy. Water sharing emerged as a major topic of discussion, with the participating states making strong claims over their dues. Haryana raised the issue of the non-construction of the Satluj-Yamuna link SYL canal, the focal point of its decade-old conflict with Punjab over Ravi and Bias river waters. Mr. Saini said proper arrangements must be made to ensure each state receives its rightful share of water. Haryana has consistently been giving Delhi more water than its own share. However, due to the non-construction of the Swayal Canal, Haryana is not receiving its full share of water from Punjab. Once Haryana receives its rightful share of water through SYL, Rajasthan will also get its due share, said the Haryana CM. However, Mr. Mann said Punjab has no surplus water to spare through the SYL. He added that no scientific calculation had been conducted regarding the availability of water even in 1976 and 1981, when the ratio of water to be shared among the states was decided by the Government of India unilaterally. The Himachal CM sought the release of pending dues from the Bhakra Beas Management Board, which manages the Bhakra, Nangal and Beas projects and regulates water release, and pressed for the appointment of a permanent member from this state in the board. Mr. Sukhu also reiterated his state's legitimate right to a 7.19% share in the lands and public assets of Chandigarh, the joint capital of Punjab and Haryana, even as Mr. Mann reasserted its long-standing claims over Chandigarh and Punjab University. Raj Bhavan surged after arms allegation by Trinamool MP. From Kolkata, a bomb disposal squad and personnel from other security agencies searched the premises of the Raj Bhavan in Kolkata on Monday following Trinamool Congress MP Kalyan Banerjee's allegation that West Bengal Governor C.V. Ananda Bose was entertaining BJP criminals in Raj Bhavan and giving them arms and ammunition to go and attack Trinamool workers. Mr. Bose himself participated in the combining exercise and employees of the Raj Bhavan were evacuated during the process. A communication from the Raj Bhavan stated cutting short his outstation tour. HG Honorable Governor is returning to Raj Bhavan, Kolkata today on instructions of HG. A joint combining operation will be carried out for the entire Raj Bhavan building and its precincts. The joint combining operation will be led by HG himself. A press statement from Raj Bhavan read. It added that personnel from the Kolkata Police's Raj Bhavan Police Outpost, Central Reserve Police Force, Bomb Disposal Squad, Dog Squad, and members of Disaster Management and Civil Defense participated in the exercise. The exercise was live streamed. Mr. Banerjee made the remarks on Saturday, and the next day the governor invited the MP and members of the civil society to visit the Raj Bhavan and inspect to see if there were weapons on the premises. Leader of the opposition in the assembly, Subhendu Adhikari, urged the governor not to take Mr. Banerjee's remarks seriously. Center announces Gopal Ratna Awards from New Delhi. Revoke order appointing interlocutor Bengal CM request PM from Kolkata. RJD reviews results. Tejaswi made leader of legislature party from Patna. India-China ties improving, says Army Chief from New Delhi. Chief of Army Staff General Trivedi. Upinder Trivedi on Monday said India's relations with China have been a lot of improvement since October last year, following consistent dialogue between Prime Minister Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping to restore normalcy. General Trivedi said the leadership level engagements had focused on reviving talks and finding a resolution to the border standoff. He noted that the agreement reached on the line of actual control in October 2024 had been beneficial for India, adding that both defense ministers recently agreed to hold sustained border level dialogue. Referring to India military preparedness, the army chief said Operation Sindoor was just a trailer that ended in 88 hours, adding that India is ready for any future scenario. If Pakistan gives a chance, we will teach it how to behave responsible, how to behave responsibly with the neighboring nation, said General Dwivedi, who was speaking at a private event. He said each operation provides lessons and emphasized the need for faster decision making across all levels. He also underlined the importance of integration among the forces, noting that today's battles are multi-domain, highlighting the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir. General Dwivedi said terrorist incidents have declined since the abrogation of Article 370, reiterating India's stance on terrorism. He said talks and terror can't go together, blood and water cannot flow together. We are committed to a peaceful process and we will cooperate with it. Until then, we will treat terrorists and their sponsors alike. He said India's new normal in counter-terrorism would pose a challenge to Pakistan. The army chief said India's political leadership is determined to strengthen the nation's deterrence capabilities in today's time. Our deterrence is very strong. Our deterrence is working, he said. Nitish meets governor as NDA prepares to form new government in Bihar from Patna. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar on Monday met Governor Arif Mohammad Khan at the Raj Bhavan soon after chairing the last cabinet meeting of his present government, during which a decision was taken to dissolve the assembly. The assembly will be dissolved on Wednesday and Mr. Kumar will tender his resignation. He will be sworn in as Chief Minister again the next day at the oath-taking ceremony scheduled at the Gandhi Maidan in Patna, a senior Janata Dal United leader said. Preparations for the ceremony have already begun at the Gandhi Maidan amid heavy deployment of police personnel as Prime Minister Modi will be in attendance. Earlier, senior JD leader Vijay Kumar Chaudhary, while coming out of the Raj Bhavan, said in the last meeting of the cabinet it was decided to dissolve the current assembly on November 19, and Nitish Ji has recommended this to the governor. BJP State President Dilip Jaiswal said the National Democratic Alliance legislature party meeting had been called on November 19, and after the meeting we will submit the proposal to the governor to form the government on November 20 at Gandhi Maidan. The oath taking ceremony will be held. Mr. Modi, senior BJP leaders, union ministers such as JP Nadda, Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, and chief ministers and deputy chief minister of NDA and BJP ruled states have been invited for the event, Mr. Jaiswal added. JD State President Umesh Singh Kushwaha said that after witnessing 2 decades of historic and unprecedented good governance, the people of Bihar had once again reposed their faith in Mr. Kumar's leadership with an overwhelming majority and entrusted him with the responsibility yet again. Hindustani Awam Morcha Secular National President Santosh Kumar Suman said there will be a meeting of the NDA legislation party in which a leader will be elected who will then stake a claim to form the government. We will be part of the government as a constituent party of the NDA. Special division of poll rolls to be conducted in Assam, says EC. The door-to-door verification will take place in state from November 22 to December 20. Voters will not have to fill out any enumeration forms. The integrated draft electoral roll will be published on December 27 and the final roll on February 10 from New Delhi. The Election Commission on Monday announced a special revision of electoral rolls in Assam where assembly election is scheduled to be held next year. The poll body is notably not conducting the special intensive revision SIR of electoral rolls. Electoral rolls in the state pending the status of National Register of Citizens. The 2019 NRC list in Assam excluded nearly 19.6 lakh persons from the list of 3.3 crore applicants, but no final notification has been issued to date. The Assam government has challenged the NRC in its current form in the Supreme Court, while announcing the second phase of the national SIR on October 27. Chief Election Commissioner Ganesh Kumar had said under the Citizenship Act there are separate provisions for citizenship in Assam under the supervision of the Supreme Court. The exercise of checking citizenship is about to be completed. The June 24 SIR order was for the entire country. Under such circumstances, this would not apply to Assam. The special division of the voters list in Assam, though, will have heightened security scrutiny as compared with the routine annual special summary revision, according to a senior EC official. Under this, booth level officer will conduct house to house verification, but voters will not be required to fill out any enumeration forms as is the case under the SIR exercise. Instead, the BLOs will carry three forms: Statement 1, 2, and 3, according to the EC order sent to the Assam Chief Electoral Officer on Monday. Statement 1 is a pre-filled register containing the details of existing electors in their respective parts. The household will be the basic unit for conducting the house-to-house survey and to get the said details verified and corrected from the electors. The details of deep voters or doubtful voters shall be carried forward without any change, and any modification, including deletion or removal, shall be made upon receiving an order from the foreigners tribunal or a court of law. The BLOs would in statement 2 make entries of eligible citizens who are not yet enrolled, and in statement 3 of prospective electors who are more than 17 years of age and will be eligible for enrollment in the four quarters of 2026. Qualifying date January 1, 2026 will be the qualifying date for the state to carry out the special division according to the schedule. The door-to-door verification will take place from November 22 to December 20. The integrated draft electoral roll will be published on December 27 and the final roll on February 10 next year. Amid accusations by the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, over a large number of voters having house number marked as 0 and eligible photos on rolls, specific instructions have also been given to ensure that houses with no number allotted should be given a non-zero national number like NI and so on, beside replacing blurred, poor quality and non-human images from the rolls. Nitish meets governor as NDA prepares to form new government in Bihar from Patna. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar on Monday met Governor Arif Mohammad Khan at the Raj Bhavan soon after chairing the last cabinet meeting of his present government, during which a decision was taken to dissolve the assembly. The assembly will be dissolved on Wednesday. Mr. Kumar will tender his resignation. He will be sworn in as Chief Minister again the next day at the oath-taking ceremony scheduled at the Gandhi Maidan in Patna. A senior Janata Dal United leader preparations for the ceremony have already begun at the Gandhi Maidan amid heavy deployment of police personnel as Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in attendance. Earlier, senior JD leader Vijay Kumar Chaudhary, while coming out of the Raj Bhavan, said in the last meeting of the cabinet it was decided to dissolve the current assembly on November 19, and Nitish ji has recommended this to the governor. BJP state President Dilip Jaiswal said the National Democratic Alliance Legislative Party meeting has been called on November 19, and after the meeting we will submit the proposal to the governor to form the government on the November 20 at Gandhi Maidan. The oath-taking ceremony will be held. Mr. Modi, senior BJP leader, Mr. Modi, senior BJP leader, union ministers such as JP Nadda, Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, and Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister of ND and BJP ruled states have been invited for the event. Mr. Jaiswal added. JD State President Umesh Singh Kushwaha said that after witnessing 2 decades of historic and unprecedented good governance, the people of Bihar had once again reposed their faith in Mr. Kumar's leadership with an overwhelming majority and entrusted him with the responsibility. Yet again, Hindustani Awam Morcha Secular National President Santosh Kumar Suman said there will be a meeting of the NDA legislative party in which a leader will be elected who will then stop a claim to form the government. We will be part of the government as a constituent party of the NDA. New digital initiative aims at de-unionization construction workers alleges Federation from New Delhi Center reviewing Supreme Court ruling on forest laws and tribal housing, says Minister from New Delhi. Girl raped, killed, family seeks death for accused. Trade impacts of climate action flagged at COP30. Developing countries, including India, demand that the impact of climate action on trade be given more prominence and discussed in future meetings. Submit Presidency circulates summary. Center hikes print ad rates by 26% to offer revenue support. After DMK, Indian Union Muslim League moves Supreme Court challenging the timeline of SIR. From New Delhi, booth level officer in Kerala take to the streets demanding postponement of SIR from Trivandrum. Heavy football on day one of the pilgrim season at Sabrimala temple from Pathan Mita. SIT collects samples of gold-plated cashings from Pathan Mita. High Court of Karnataka refuses to limit stay on Geo. Speaker delaying disqualification plays his gross contempt, Supreme Court says from New Delhi. Victims' families reeling after fatal bus crash in Saudi Arabia from Hyderabad. Hyderabad family loses 18 members in Saudi bus accident from Hyderabad. The trajectory of anti-rape laws in India by condemning the 1979 Supreme Court acquittal in a custodial rape case. Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai has highlighted India's evolving legal reforms aimed at better protecting sexual assault survivors and redefining consent. 46 years after the Supreme Court acquitted two policemen in the custodial rape of a teenage tribal girl in Maharashtra, concluding she consented to the sexual intercourse as there were no visible marks of physical injury on her. Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai India called the judgment a moment of institutional embarrassment. The judgment reflected a deeply regressive and patriarchal understanding of consent, effectively denying the social context of power, coercion, and vulnerability in which sexual violence often occurs. The Chief Justice said the troubling judgment in Tukaram versus State of Maharashtra in 1979 became a turning point as the verdict brought the nation together in protest for the legal system had failed to protect the dignity of the very person it was meant to safeguard. The acquittal ignited to the women's rights movement for stronger rape laws in India. It also forced Parliament to address the lapses in criminal law, to strengthen legal protection against custodial rape, to make punishments under the Dowry Prohibition Act more stringent, and to introduce the Family Courts Act, a series of criminal law amendments from 1983 to the spirit of changes made in sexual offences. Provisions in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita in 2023 trace their spirit to the top court's institutional failure in the Mathura rape judgment. The trajectory of the case 1979 judgment, which further condemned a custodial rape survivor, was pronounced even before the ink had dried in Justice Krishna Iyer's verdict in the Nandini Satapatya 1978 case. The court, speaking through Justice Iyer, condemned the practice of calling women to police station and declared that a woman must be questioned by the police only at her residence. The incident in the Mathura rape case happened in March 1972. The rape survivor, an orphan aged between 14 and 16 years, was one among four who were called to the police station at night. After a brief questioning, she was asked to stay behind while the others were asked to leave, she was subjected to sexual assault by two policemen, a head constable and a constable inside the police station. The trial court, in its judgment, found the rape survivor a shocking liar whose testimony is riddled with falsehood and improbabilities. The court came to the conclusion that she had sexual intercourse while at the police station, but rape had not been proved and that she was habituated to sexual intercourse. The Bombay High Court in 1976 overturned the sessions judge's findings and concluded the teenager was subject to forcible sexual intercourse amounting to rape. The High Court had held that the so-called consent to act was only passive submission by a helpless victim to persons in authority whose advances she could hardly repel by herself. In an appeal by the two policemen, the Supreme Court set aside the High Court judgment, agreeing with the petitioners that the alleged intercourse was a peaceful affair as there were no marks of injury on her person. A letter which shook the nation but brought the Mathura rape case into nation consciousness and sparked outrage was a letter written by four intellectuals to the court in September 1979, shortly after the acquittal of the two accused policemen. In September 1979, later by Upendra Bakshi, Vasudev Bhaganwar, Raghunath Kelkar, and Lotika Sarkar pointed out to the judges the clear difference both in the law and common sense. Consent involves submission, but the converse is not necessarily true, nor is absence of resistance necessarily indicative of the consent. They argued. The letter pointed out that there was not a single word in the judgment condemning the very act of calling a teenage girl and detaining her at the police station in gross violation of the law. Nor was there a single word in the judgment condemning the use of the police station as a theatre of rape or submission to sexual intercourse. The court gave no consideration whatsoever to the socio-economic status, the lack of knowledge of legal rights, the age of the victim, lack of access to legal services, and the fear complex which haunts the poor and the exploited in Indian police stations. May we respectfully suggest that you and your distinguished colleagues visit incognito, wearing the visas of poverty. Some police stations in villages adjoining Delhi. The latter had challenged the Supreme Court judges. Myriad amendments, the public furor following the 1979 judgment led Parliament to introduce the Criminal Law Amendment Act of 1983, in which custodial rape was included as a separate offence under Section 376 of the East while Indian Penal Code IPC. The amendment shifted the burden of proof in custodial rape cases from the rape survivor to the accused if the fact of sexual intercourse was established. The top court framed the Vishaka guidelines against sexual harassment at the workplace when a public interest petition was filed after the gang rape of Banwari Devi, a Kumar woman, and an auxiliary nurse midwife who raised her voice as part of her job against child marriage, especially in caste, upper caste families. The brutal gang rape and fatal assault of 22-year-old physiotherapy in a moving bus by six men on a December 2026 night had the nation rise in protest again, demanding stricter laws to protect women and punish their attackers. The Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013, loosely crafted on the recommendations of the Justice J.S. Verma Committee, introduced, among others, provisions to punish police officers who do not record an FIR in sexual violence cases against women or hospitals which do not provide free care to sexual assault victims. The 2013 amendments broadened the definition of rape as in section 375 to include acts other than forcible sexual intercourse. Most importantly, it clarified that silence or a feeble no by a woman cannot be translated as a yes. Besides, the amendments raised the age of consent from 16 to 18 years. The amendments awarded death penalty to repeat offenders or if rape led to the death of persistent vegetative state of the victim. After DMK, Indian Union Muslim League moved Supreme Court challenging the timeline of SIR from New Delhi. Booth level officers in Kerala take to the streets demanding postponement of SIR from Trivandrum. Remembering Batukeshwar Dutt, the forgotten comrade of Bhagat Singh, celebrated briefly for his role in Delhi Assembly bombing. Batukeshwar Dutt, who was born on November 18, 1910, spent much of his life in obscurity, neglected by the nation. He helped liberate. His story is one of the courage, sacrifice, and erasure. On April 8, 1929, the Hindustan Times in Delhi rushed out a special evening edition while the statesman in Calcutta cabled its story to London to evade colonial censorship. That afternoon, two young men had thrown harmless bombs into the Central Assembly Hall, now Parliament, raising slogans of Inqilab Zindabad, long life the revolution, and Samrajwad ka nash ho, down with imperialism. They scattered red pamphlets titled To Make the Deaf Hear. Reporters caught the words and newspapers across India and abroad carried dramatic headlines. One international paper proclaimed Red storms the assembly. The two young men were Bhagat Singh and Batu Keshwar Dutt. Both were arrested, tried, and convicted, while Bhagat Singh went to become one of the most iconic figures of the Indian freedom struggle. His comrade Dutt gradually faded from public memory, remembered only occasionally, and rarely honored with the dignity he deserved. A revolutionary's journey, Batukeshwar Dutt was born on November 18, 1910, in the Burdwan district of Bengal, convicted in the Delhi Assembly bomb case on June 12, 1929. He spent 9 years in prisons across India, Multan, Jhelum, Tiruchirappalli, Salem, and even the Andamans. In each jail, he resorted to hunger strikes, twice fasting for over a month, demanding humane treatment for political prisoners. When Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev were executed in Lahore on March 23, 1931, Dutt was languishing in the Salem jail. That night he dreamed of Singh in chains, a vision that haunted him. Released in 1938, Dutt was rearrested during the Quit India movement of 1942 and spent another 4 years in jail. After his release, he married Anjali, a school teacher, and settled in Patna with their daughter Bharti, who later became a professor of economics at Patna College. But life after independence of offered little stability. The Bihar government allotted him a coal depot, but it proved financially unviable. President Rajendra Prasad intervened, urging the state to extend due consideration to him. The gesture resulted only in a token nomination to the Bihar Legislative Council. for the remainder of an existing member's 6-month term. Despite such neglect, Datta Batukeshwar Dutt remained respected by many political leaders. His health, however, declined in the mid 1960s. Affected with bone cancer, he was admitted to AIMS, New Delhi, where he endured 8 months of suffering. Leading orthopedist Dr. Vick told his comrades that treatment could only ensure a painless death. Plans to send him abroad were abandoned after the Indian High Commission in London reported that Delhi offered care equal to Europe's. Dutt passed away on July 20, 1965. Honoring his last wish, he was cremated at Hoshiarwala in Punjab alongside Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev. The site, which remained in Pakistan until 1965, had only recently come under the Indian control for the construction of a memorial to the martyrs. Neglect and recognition for a brief moment after his death, the nation honored Dutt. His funeral procession was massive, attended by the President, Prime Minister, Central Ministers, the Lok Sabha Speaker, and the Punjab Chief Minister. The funeral drew vast numbers of people along the streets. Yet today, few remember that the farewell accorded him revealed those of the most revered leaders of his time. Ironically, the parliament building where he and Bhagat Singh had staged their act of defiance still does not display their portraits. In contrast, the portrait of V.D. Savarkar, once an accused in Gandhiji's assassination case through her later acquitted, hangs prominently opposite Gandhiji's. In 2014, MPs including Dharamveer Gandhi and Sitaram Yechuri protested their submission but the demand to include Bhagat Singh and by extension that was ignored. The story of this neglect was first documented by Chaman Lal Azad, a fellow revolutionary who later became a journalist while caring for that aims. Chaman Lal Azad wrote a series of articles in the Urdu daily Pratap. These were later compiled as Bhagat Singh or Dutt Ki Amar Kahani 1966, one of the most authentic. Its scattered accounts of revolutionary movement, the book contains Bhagat Singh's letters, court statements, and postcards, some published for the first time along with Gandhiji's letter to Dutt and rare photographs of him with Nehru and Indira Gandhi in 1963. The book also records Dutt's conversations about fellow revolutionaries. In it, he spoke of Hari Kishan Talwar, who was hanged in 1931 for shooting Punjab's Lieutenant Governor, and of his comrade Irsan Ilahi, who migrated to Pakistan, became a musician, and died penniless despite Chamanlal Azad's attempts to help him. Dutt also disapproved of films made on Bhagat Singh in 1950s, which he and other comrades protested against. Only Manoj Kumar Shahid in 1965 won their approval, with the actor personally consulting the equally touching are accounts of his bond with Bhagat Singh's family. Mata Vidyavati, Bhagat Singh's mother, spent long periods with Dutt in his final days. She even sold a Hindi epic poem on Bhagat Singh, gifted to her by poet Shri Kishan Saral, to raise funds for Dutt's treatment. Revolutionary comrades such as Shiv Verma, Sadashiv Malka Purkar, and Jatin Das's brother Kiran Das remained constantly by his side. Leaders including Home Minister Gulzari Lal Nanda, Defence Minister Y.V. Chavan, Jagjeevan Ram Swaran Singh and Dr. Sushila Nair also visited him in hospital, though such respect was rarely extended while he was alive and struggling, or to the forgotten shoulder. Chaman Lal Azad used his book to underline Bhagat Singh's intellectual legacy, his ability to rise above religion and envision socialism as the foundation of India's future. Dutt himself remarked that Singh was far-sighted, always with a book in hand, reading wherever he went. Despite having a shared vision of India's future, history has not treated Dutt kindly. He remained absent from memorials, textbooks, and the national consciousness, while never works such as Justice Anil Verma, Bhagat Singh के सहयोगी बटुकेश्वर दत्त and भैरव दासे's Vipalvi Batukeshwar Dutt, both post 2007, have attempted to reclaim his place. Chaman Lal Azad's earlier book, rich with first-hand memories, is nearly lost. Its Hindi translation, commissioned years ago by the government's publication division, still lies unpublished due to copyright hurdles. Thus, life illustrates how revolutionaries in India are often remembered only in passing. No, your English, the party was just great. Tell me about it. I am all ears. You are all ear? When you tell someone that you are all ears, it means that you are eager to listen to what they have to say. When he rose to speak, the children were all ears. When the physics teacher read out our marks, we were all ears. Now that you have my ear, please continue tell. I have your ear. When did you give it to me? I never. When you have someone's ear, you succeed in getting him or her to listen to you. He or she is willing to pay attention to what you have to say. While I had his ear, I told him about my problems. Now that I have your ear, can I tell you about some of the things that have been happening in school? Perhaps later, here is another example. I succeeded in getting my boss ear and explained to him why we should not market the new product. Was he happy with what you said? No, he wasn't. He gave me an earful and sent me packing an earful of what when you give somebody an earful, you speak to them angrily. I see, so can I say I get an earful from my mother every time I am late? You certainly can. The next time I run into my landlord, I am going to give him an earful. Why, what has he done? Isn't not what he has done, it's what he has not done. He promised to get my flat painted. That was more than a year ago. Maybe whatever you say to him goes in one ear and out the other. Hey, that's very good. When I was young, whatever my mother said used to go in one ear and out the other. While while we are on the subject of ears, does land on ear to someone mean the same thing as have someone's ear? When you have someone ear, you get someone to listen to you. When you lend an ear to someone, you are willing to listen to what someone has to say. Friend, Indians, countrymen, lend me your ears. I would be delighted to lend you mine if you promise to tell what happened at the party. Most of the people there were talking about Sujata's new haircut. Poor Sujata, her ears must have been burning. But why should her ears burn? When you talk a lot about someone in their absence, you say his or her ears must be burning. For example, everyone was talking about our chairman. His ears must have been burning. I wouldn't worry about Sujata. She has no way of finding out what we said. I wouldn't be too sure about that. She had her ear to the second. You know, what does that mean? Someone who has his or her ear to ground is aware of what is happening around him or her. 27 lakh MGNREGS election deletion and attempt to deny rural poor right to work from Congress. Delhi blast lost rises to 14. Police probe university linked to attack from New Delhi. One more victim of the Delhi blast died on Monday. According to the Delhi police, taking the toll to 14, the police identified the deceased as Vinayak Pathak, 50, who was on a ventilator after he was injured in the high intensity blast on November 10. Chairman summoned. The Delhi police has also summoned the chairman of Al Falah University, Javed Ahmad, to record his statement on the functioning of the university and its links to people suspected of involvement in the attack. There are too many discrepancies in the statement recorded in relation to the functioning of the university, so he has been summoned again to clarify and also provide crucial information about the hiring process, said the official. Officials found the accused used Signal to communicate. They made a group on Signal 3 months before the blast to share information and give each other instruction. The official shared Dr. Umar U. Nabi made the group and added Muzamil Adil Irfan and Muzaffar. He said, investigators have continued to go through the records of the university and are conducting background checks of all those who have been associated with the university. Meanwhile, the Madhya Pradesh police arrested Javed's younger brother Hamoud Ahmad Siddiqui in connection with three fraud cases registered in the district's Moin Monday. Father of terror accused youth dies of burn injuries from Srinagar. Hasina had get death penalty for takedown. J&K parties question handling of explosives from Srinagar. Supreme Court to hear on December 2nd Tamil Nadu's plea on state's power to appoint wishes from New Delhi. Court sends blast accused to NIA custody for 10 days. One more suspect arrested from New Delhi. 45 Indian pilgrims die in accident in Saudi Arabia. Of the 54, four had already left for Medina after completing Umrah in Mecca in private vehicles. Four others decided to stay back in Mecca. The remaining 46 began their journey on Sunday night. The official said bus driver killed. The bus driver and his assistant, suspected to be locals, also died in the accident. The police have collected the full list of passengers and their details from the travel companies involved, allowing officials to coordinate with families. The Consulate General of India in Jeddah has set up to 24 into 7 control room to support families of the victims. Supreme Court says perennial GRAP is not answer to Delhi air pollution. Air quality degradation has to be dealt through a long-term policy which does not impact the livelihoods of laborers and daily wagers. The court says center's response sought on the matter from New Delhi. The Supreme Court on Monday told the center that air pollution chokehold on the national capital cannot be pried loose by slapping a perennial graded response section across Delhi and the national capital region. The toxicity had to be dealt with gradually through a long-term policy which did not impact the livelihoods of migrant laborers and daily wagers, the court said. The solution is not to take a short-term measure effective for 1 or 2 months. The government has to bring all the stakeholders on board and consider a solution which would see air pollution diminishing over the years. Chief Justice of India B.R. Gavai observed the Chief Justice had harsh measures like imposing grab throughout the year till the air quality index drastically dipped would have other massive repercussions affecting the livelihoods of lakhs of daily laborers and construction workers. At one point, even the additional Solicitor General Aishwarya Bhatti for the center said knee-jerk reactions to air pollution caused by heavy cocktail of stubble burning fumes from neighboring states such as Punjab and Haryana vehicular emissions and construction average etc. would only prove counterproductive. Even the Supreme Court would not be able to function with perennial grab. There would be no cars allowed. The CGI shared senior advocate Gopal Sankaranandan, who had suggested grab throughout the year, said the court could consider online hearing of cases. Mr. Sankaranarayan also suggested a heavier road tax for cars. Amicus Curie Aparajita Singh focusing on the issue of the stubble burning explained that the practice grew after the implementation of the Groundwater Preservation Act of 2009, which shortened the time between harvesting paddy and sowing wheat. So the best option for farmers was to burn the crop stubble. MS Singh explained. Mr. Sankaran Narayan suggested advancing the farmer's schedule for harvesting paddy. Paddy should be harvested earlier when the wind does not come to Delhi. He said the center had allocated over 2,000 crore rupees to states including Punjab and Haryana to buy machinery for the in situ removal of stubble from the fields in order to use them as manure or as fuel. The allocation of money or machinery is not the solution. The AQI threshold in India is very high. They allow high levels of pollution before grab peaks, unlike in other foreign countries. Mr. Santunan remitted the court asked MS Bhatti to consult with the government and come back by November 19. I thank all my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students, scholars, teachers, trainers, professors, professionals, officers, listener, learners. I thank respected doctors and directors. I thank all honorable ministers and manager. I thank all honorable advocates, supervisor, administrative advisors. I thank the most honorable President Modi ji. Thank you very much. Thank you.